Knee pain, right? Let's talk about it. Today we're going to talk about why you might be feeling knee pain when you're doing your squats, why you're doing your lunges, when you're doing your Bulgarians. So many people go through this, and so many of my clients have gone through this. They've told me, my doctor says this, I must do this. And we've gone through phases where we've had to fix it, and now they're perfectly fine. They can squat, they have no pain, they don't have to wear straps. And today I want to share why you could be feeling the pain and how to fix it. Basically, how you can move forward so that you don't have to wear straps and you don't have to not do your favorite exercises because you're afraid that you're going to blow your knee. Let's talk about it. It's just a little bit harder. How did you make the fight than being put? There can be many root causes for the knee pain that you might be experiencing or might have experienced in the past. Normally, from the interactions I've had with my clients and other people who were clients and then they've moved on or whatever, is that the pain or the issue is normally in another place, and then the pain is being referred to the knee because there's a movement. I don't want to say imbalance because imbalance is the wrong word, but something isn't moving. It's like something isn't aligned and it's not moving as it should. So that's normally in the hips or in the ankles. So someone might be struggling with their ankle mobility or their ankle flexion, dorsiflexion, how they move their ankle isn't that great. And then maybe some of those muscles in that area have atrophied, and then they might need to do some things in terms of trying to improve their ankle mobility over time. And similarly, something happens with the hip like that, where sometimes if someone is squatting, and typically I've seen it with people who, when they squat, they have their toes or their feet are pointing straight forward, and they try to squat normally in a very narrow kind of stance, which is one thing that one of my clients recently went through. And he was one of those where he wore straps and all the bodybuilding things around his knee. And we got him to hack squat. I got him to squat very deep, and he had no pain in his knee. And he was so like, what? Wow! I thought my knee was gonna die if I went this low. So basically, those are the two things that you need to know at the beginning. That the pain is probably the pain is being referred to your knee, probably because there's an imbalance or a irregular movement or not enough movement, basically. In one of either the hip joint or the ankle joint. Also want to caveat and then say, even though that is the case normally for most people, there are special cases where obviously dealing with this similar kind of problem, someone might have actual problems with the actual knee, the patella, and how it moves because they've been diagnosed with something that is not like the average person. So we're talking to the average person here. We're talking to the average person who needs to, in order to fix this, and this leads me perfectly into my first point, is you need to check your form. You need to strip back all the weights, especially the guys. You need to strip back all the weights and start again with how to perform a squat, how to perform a lunge, how to perform a Bulgarian split squat. Normally in my experience, when someone like my client was experiencing some of this knee pain, he needed to adjust his squat width. He needed to adjust how he kind of turns on his glute medius, which are the side glutes basically, which are responsible for when you're, when you're pointing your toes out and then you're making sure that your knees are facing in the same direction as your toes when you're about to squat. Those muscles turn on. So some of the things that we did is we did a squat with him doing that kind of position with the toes out like that, and then we'd wrap a band in and around his knees, and then I'd cue him to make sure that he's pushing his knees out as he's coming down. Of course, it didn't just fix itself in one session, but stuff like that helped because initially, because his glute medius was turning off and was fairly weak and immobile, his knee would always track in and start to do that every time he went up and down, which that's not the way it was supposed to move. So that's what would cause the pain. So the pain would be in the knee, but again, the problem would be somewhere else. So that's number one for him. or number one for anyone else. Check your form, make sure that you're doing things the right way. Earlier I also spoke about the ankles, and so with the ankle it's a similar thing. You might have issues with your ankle, you need to improve your ankle mobility, you need to almost get used to being in end ranges where your knee is over your toe, and you kind of improve how far your knee can go over your toe. There's many videos on YouTube on how to do that. I'll see if I can link one of the best ones under the description for this video. But that's the other thing. Okay, just to round this off and give you guys practical things that you can actually use when you have knee pain and your squats are not squatting, basically. One thing you can do is at the beginning of your workout, when let's say you're gonna squat today, try this. Try doing some exercises, an exercise called the side plank clamshell. You'll do maybe, let's say 2 sets, five reps on either side. You hold it. I'm gonna see if I can superimpose that on here. 2 sets, either side, about 5 to 10 second holds, and really make sure that your glute medius is really engaged. You'll feel it burning. If you've never done this before, you'll definitely feel it burning. So that's number one. Do 5 to 10 reps, 2 sets of that before you actually get into your squats. Do some 90-90s. That's gonna help open up your hips a little bit. Do a couple sets, also maybe 2 to 3, of just opening up your hips, like squatting very low, and then maybe hold a plate in front of you and open up your knees as much as you can, and really focus on getting comfortable in that deep squat position. Lastly, you can do some stretches for your ankle. So you're stretching that ankle mobility out. I'm gonna see if I can superimpose that on here, where you're making sure you're driving that knee over your toe as much as you can with your heel remaining on the ground. So as soon as your heel goes over and like doesn't touch the ground anymore, that's when you know you need to stop. So make sure that heel stays on the ground while that ankle is moving over, or while that knee, is moving over your toe. So do a couple of those, and then again, when you actually start your movement, don't go in there and just go gung-ho and like load the plates on the hack squat or load the plates on the squat. Do a couple of warm-up sets, start with your body weight, start with the bar, and again, practice the whole toes pointing out, knees pointing out in the same direction, come down slowly, maybe spend a second or two in that position, and then come up again. It's gonna make a big difference, because sometimes if you did have a knee injury or whatever the case was, and maybe your knees are just not used to being in those deep end ranges and having to exert that much force to get you out of the end range. But the beautiful thing about, I think, physiotherapy also is when you have you sprain something, you hurt something, it's not about not making you do the thing that hurt you. It's about, okay, that thing hurt you because you're not strong in that end range. So let's do things that are over time going to get you stronger. So whenever you need to get in that end range again, you're going to be a lot more stronger. You're going to be a lot more robust, so that you won't have to worry about getting injured. So a similar thing applies with this. Slowly but surely, see how much you can apply load into those end ranges when you're at the bottom of the squat. If it doesn't feel comfortable at the beginning, start maybe with the midway squat, like a box squat, and slowly but surely see if you can drop the box and see how your knees feel as you start to go lower and lower. And over time, that's a more sustainable way of loading them and getting them used to that amount of load in that end range. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and let me know if this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one.